What's going on YouTube? Since the place to be, Joe Mr. A&D back to give you guys some more WWE 2K23 news, because now we got more news coming out about the game. They did some interviews with the developers like Lionel Jinx, and they came out and they told us some new things that's going with showcase mode, going with the pin system, going with stamina, going with the War Games matchup. So there's a lot of things we got to get to cover onto. I know these interviews were about a day or two ago, but I had to work the day that these things came out. That's why you guys are getting this thing today. So we're going to go over some of the things that they talked about in the interview. Let's see what they got to say. Well, at the start of the interview on Checkpoint Gaming, they go into talking about, how WWE 2K20 was not necessarily the whole thing that they really wanted to do per se, and it was more so along the lines of, this was like a failed type of experiment type thing going on, and but to be honest, it kind of shaped the culture of the studio and this team. They had to get basically a reality check, and they were saying that that this year's game, if you look at the foundations last year, everything we laid out last year, in this game we're just making it better, as it should be. It's more like an update. Like, okay, we're trying this out, but now we're going to enhance it and also bring it into War Games. So going on to the topic of War Games, they said ever since 2017, fans have been wondering and hoping for War Games, and timing is everything. The work that went into rebuilding the engine that facilitated the possibilities of a War Games was achieved through the work that everybody put into WWE 2K22. And that's what developer Brian Williams had said. All the moving parts that match of this magnitude entails. It was the designers and the engineers, the artists. It was all hands on deck to take this this big ass match. With all these moving pieces and parts of chaos, when you're introducing weapons, two rings stuck together, and you have the space in between, which we've dubbed the trench, where you can toss people into it, fight into a springboard from one ring to another. So if you've seen War Games, you know how chaotic the action-packed the match is, and that was our goal, to replicate that to the best and the truest of our abilities, and we think we achieved that. So that's also cool too, because now when it comes to the War Games match, all the stuff that we've seen in War Games and stuff, where now we can actually come in there, and then it was also mentioned earlier in another article that when your person goes in, you can control all members of your team, whether it's 3-on-3 or 4-on-4. That's cool too, and they can also bring in weapons, like go underneath the ring and probably have the weapon wheel and bring in stop signs and candlesticks and chairs and even tables into the ring as they come. So it looks like this thing is going to probably be a chaotic type of thing here, and I can't wait to even check this thing out, along with fighting in the middle. So it's like, of course you probably can't do extensive fighting because it's a little small trench part, but you probably can do a power bomb in there or choke slam in there. The springboard from ring to ring is the stuff that's going to really be cool to see. So I'm glad that they addressed that and go into it. Now, if you're going over to Showcase, they had mentioned what the different changes that they were and what they were looking for in the Showcase mode. Dino Santucci is the Showcase lead designer at Visual Concept. He was the one that said that he flipped the script on what the Showcase can be. He said, "You can't beat me" is what we're talking about here. You have seen us driving this a focus on the Rufus Aggression era, because Cena is a huge part, if not the part of the Rufus Aggression era. He's the whole era with the top superstars of that era, and it's about getting a win with the biggest dude of that era. You're right on that one. You're not playing as the same person every match. You have to learn their moveset, learn what kind of style works best. You still have the objectives to guide through, and the full motion video cutscenes coming at you. We have a lot of good stuff in the Showcase this year, and it's cool to shine a light not just on John Cena, but the whole Ruthless Aggression era. They deserve it. I do agree with that as well. So I like the whole Super Cena stuff as well. And he also mentions down here that he said he was a great sport. We had a lot of fun. Shoot, we had about 40 minutes of pre-match videos where he's breaking down what's going on with each opponent, and a lot of back and forth with him. So he says it's a lot of inside stuff you probably wouldn't think to hear from John Cena. So that right there, I like the idea of the Showcase mode. and I like the idea of how we got to go beat Cena now with Rufus Aggression. I think that stuff is kind of cool. So it looks like we know what 9 of the matches are. So it'll be 14 matches, maybe a bonus one. We're not necessarily sure. I'm just kind of hoping we get the Eddie Guerrero parking lot brawl, because I'm looking at the list. I'm just like, it's easy to get a lot of big match John Law. Well, not really, but I'm saying, but you can get some big match John losses. But where's the Dr. Thuganomics though? Because everybody knows you can't tease this man on the cover and all stuff like that, and we'll get no Dr. Thuganomics John Cena. We gotta have one match on there, and the only one I can think of that he lost was a United States Championship, Eddie Guerrero and John Cena in that parking lot brawl. Just saying. They now talk about the different key stuff that they did on gameplay and how they changed the gameplay up. It says here, we've made some key and fundamental improvements to the gameplay, including a large emphasis on stamina, says Brian Williams. We're taking the gameplay news since it was present in 2K22, but was more or less there to govern when you could run or when you couldn't. We added to that, so it's not only it will affect running, but your character will physically change over the course of a match without the need of any meter. Okay, because you know what, I like that, because before we would just have the meter, and then once the meter goes down, they just get tired of running, and the meter goes back up, and you go right back to running. But if you've been in like a hardcore match, extreme rules match, a ladder match, you've been in a Hell in a Cell, and you've been taking all these big ass bumps, okay? I know it's a video game, but still. And next thing you know, it's like, but now where's the damage at? Because they used to have the games where they start bruising up after a while, but now it's like, little small things like that, when they can show that how the stamina is going down, how the health is going down, to the point where it won't be as easy to kick out. Because that's one of my biggest things with 2K22 was I felt as though it was way too easy. After I've been in the match for about 20 minutes with my son, and we got finishes galore, stuff like that, and it's too easy to kick out still. I'm like, it got to make it more difficult after they've been taking some punishment. They also we also added some new finisher situations you can perform. Cody Rhodes, for example, one of his moves is the Cody Cutter. You can perform it as a finisher now, because we never had springboard finishers before. It's never been possible to do in-ring springboards as special moves. We have added those special moves for characters who need them. And also, according to the team, they've also even added a new payback slot where you can have a chance to fight back even when you're getting your ass kicked. Female referees are now included, as we see in some of the trailer for the John Cena Showcase, that female referees are included. It'll be the first time in 2K23, so that's a good bonus as well. And they've been added to the main TV roster recently. Because before I just seen them in NXT, right, and then they went to the main roster. And also, you can taunt with a weapon. These may sound like small things, but they are the little things that add up to make WWE the slick product it is week in and week out. So taunting with, they can really add the storytelling, taunting with the stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff. Pin mechanic. Now this is the thing right here. We have a new time pin minigame that's really compelling. When you see it in action, you'll fall in love with it. I always enjoy when I'm being pinned just to be in this minigame. He perks, just as he interviewed the developer, you got the cursor that moves back and forth, and you have the target zone, which also moves back and forth. So you have to time the target zone with the moving cursor to kick out. The movement of that zone is depending on your health, or did you just eat a finisher? Let me tell you, after a finisher, that thing is buzzing back and forth so fast. It's difficult, but it's obtainable to hit, which makes those near fall kickouts that much more exciting. The suspense and the drama is palatable. Okay, with that being said, I don't mind the button mashing, but once again, I do think that over time, if the person's getting beat up, it should be harder to get out. Okay, that pin system sounds a lot like, was it WWE 2K14 when they had the line going back and forth? That line bothered me, because every time you stop, it's like a little slight delay. Like it would never really give it a hard stop sometimes, or maybe I just playing it wrong. And then now you're gonna have the target move also, because that was a thing when they did last man standing matches where the target would move after you're trying to stop it, and that thing was annoying. Okay, I'm just saying that thing was annoying. So I'm curious to see how things are going to, wrap up in this kind of thing. I'm always willing to try it, but as long as we got options, I'm okay with that. As long as we got options. But that mostly is the more news when it comes to the gameplay, the pin mechanics, and the showcase mode and war games matches, stuff like that. So of course there will be more news to come. I think there's going to be a full-length trailer on Saturday with the Royal Rumble. I will try to react to that so I can have it up on Sunday morning, because I plan on going live for the Royal Rumble on Saturday. And but when the more news drops, I will be right here to cover it. So you can post your comments down below. How you guys excited about the new pin system and the new mechanics parts of the game? Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my breakdown of it, and make sure you stay tuned here. I'm not the biggest YouTuber that covers this, but I'm passionate about it. So make sure you guys subscribe here for more WWE 2K23 news right here on NC Studios. So once again, it's NC a place to be. Joe Train, Mr. Andy, and the Nerd Coalition is out.